With Walmart's new fresh and frozen subscriptions, you can save time on your weekly grocery shopping.
Dad, you're supposed to be grocery shopping.
And miss the chance to embarrass you in front of your friends? I subscribe to snacks and wet napkins. You know how messy you are.
Dad!
Walmart. Subscribe to your weekly list.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
I just MailChimped my marketing.
You MailChimped your what?
I MailChimped my marketing with AI to create an effective marketing campaign in minutes.
No, MailChimp and Way.
Yes, MailChimp and Way. Now I can hyper-personalize my campaigns across email and SMS.
You can do all that with MailChimp?
What did I just MailChimp and say?
MailChimp your marketing with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-ons. Visit MailChimp.com.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
And welcome back to the Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It's time for another recap episode. We are coming to you late in the evening on October 12th, 2024. It's a Saturday night. The Penguins just finished up a 4-2 road loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto. But unlike the first loss of the season against the Rangers, this one we walk away with, I think, a different vibe. Obviously a disappointing result, but I really think the Penguins fought hard in this hockey game.
Yeah, I thought it was like a good game for, you know what I mean? There wasn't there wasn't a shorthanded goal. There was no major gas goaltending wise. They got 2 power plays and they went 1 for 2 on it. So yeah, as a scarred Penguins fan early on in the season, I'm not super upset about the loss. You know, of course I'd love to see them just crush the Maple Leafs in Toronto. I want to see as many Toronto losses as possible, but you got to respect it. They're a good team. I mean, they have a young core with multiple superstars on it. A 4-2 loss with one being an empty net. Yeah, like you said, I thought it was a good, they fought hard. I thought it was a good game.
Yeah, and the first 2 Maple Leafs goals were, I'd say, a little fluky. A couple weird bounces for Toronto went their way. And in hockey, that's just how it is.
Sometimes it goes the Penguins' way.
Yeah, and it will. I mean, that'll even out throughout the season. At some point, the Penguins will get those breaks. Like you said, Toronto, a very good hockey team as well. A lot of people have them picking to go deep in the playoffs, maybe winning that division. So a very good hockey team. Obviously, you look at the names on that roster, and you expect a tough game, and it was a tough game. And like you said, I think from a neutral perspective, that was a good game to watch. A very clean game, nothing crazy, just 2 teams going at it for 60 minutes, and overall a good show from both sides. Both teams played well in this one. The Penguins did get on the board first in the first period. The power play, for the most part, looked good tonight. They get the first goal on the power play. A vintage Letang slapper. Crosby and Malkin get the assist to keep it going. And then in the second period, where things kind of go sideways a little bit, Nylander and Knies score to make it 2-1. Mitch Marner scores early in the third to make it 3-1. And then Rickard Rakell. We talked about him on the last episode. When do you start worrying? Well, he took about 15 games last year to get his first goal of the year. This year he does it in game number 3, takes a feed from Malkin, and just an absolute disgusting wrist shot.
Yeah.
Anthony Stolarz really had no chance on this. Just a great wrist shot, a one-time wrist shot. What he's known for, just picked a corner, blew it by Stolarz, and it's 3-2, a little over midway through the third, and can't go by without noting that This was the 1300th point of Evgeny Malkin's career with the assist. He needed 4 points coming into the season. This is his 4th assist. Still waiting on a goal, but he does hit the 1,300 point mark. So good on Gino for that. The Penguins do push for a tying goal, but William Nylander ices it with an empty netter with about 20 seconds left. So 4-2 Toronto. Snail, you were the one that brought up Raquel on the last show. You even texted me about it earlier in the evening. He finally gets that goal early, and just maybe it's just being scarred from last year, but you have to feel happy that Raquel gets on the scoreboard this early in the season.
Well, yeah, selfishly because he was my pick this year to have 31 goals. I have it written down right here: 31 goals, 60 plus assists, or 60 plus a point. Sorry, so. I had a big season penciled in for Raquel, and if he went 15 games again without scoring, I would look like a moron. But no, I texted you. I did text you something like I can't remember exactly what I said, but alarms are going off with Raquel. I thought he had a couple of opportunities where he kind of looked silly. He had one opportunity backdoor and completely whiffed on it. But no, he has a great shot. I think with the guy like Raquel, he has a great shot when he's got time and space, which in the NHL in this day and age, there's just not a lot of that. But great, he was right there in the slot. A nifty move by Gino, and that wicked release, top corner, top shelf against Anthony Stolarz is not easy because he's like 6'7" or something crazy like that. Not a lot of real estate, so. Yeah, happy for Ricard Raquel, and let's hope that, we're not asking him to win the Rocket Richard or whatever, but you're paying the guy, what, $5-6 million? I forget. I think it was $5 million a year.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
You just produce like a top 6 guy, produce like what you're getting paid. And he's done it. He's done it on good teams in Anaheim, bad teams in Anaheim. And he was dynamite that first year with the Penguins. So I think that, with that goal, I will be ISO camming less on him. But yeah, it's got to feel good. And it was a timely goal. I thought that the Penguins really had a couple of really good looks there down towards the last couple minutes of the game when they pulled the goalie. So yeah, good feelings all around, even with the loss,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd like at least a point out of that, but
I know, dude. I was yelling at my TV. Let's get a point here, boys. Let's get 1 point, even if you don't, get the second one. Let's push for just get it to overtime.
Yeah, racing a 2-goal third period deficit just to get a point would have been huge for not only going forward, but also just for the confidence in the team as well. But I think the biggest storyline out of tonight, besides the result, is the goaltender.
Yep. Let's get into this because I texted you bright and early out here. You guys, I don't know if you probably had already seen it, but I'd seen on Reddit that a photo of Blomqvist, or Blommer as they're calling him, come off the ice last or whatever, indicating he would be the starting netminder. And I asked you about this too. I think last episode we recapped, and I think we were like, Jari's going to probably start. But do we see Blomqvist go back in? And sure enough, Sullivan throws him right back out there.
Yeah, he does. He does not hesitate. With a day off, he goes back to Joel Blomqvist in goal. And I was wondering what they would do. I thought maybe it would be Monday night in Montreal, but he does it here. Now, before the game, Nedeljkovic did practice, so we'll have to see how this exactly plays out in the next couple of days here. I don't know how close Nedeljkovic exactly is, but they go back to Blomqvist, and I mean, yeah, you have to start asking questions now about what the situation is going forward. Is Jari still the de facto number one? Are they operating on a 1A, 1B situation? Because not only is Blomqvist got these 2 starts back to back, he has arguably been the best. I mean, he's held his own in these 2 starts. He's been solid. I can't really say that he is to blame for any of the goals against in either of these two games. And it's definitely going to get folks talking for sure that we're only 3 games in the season. And after those 3 games, your rookie backup has 2 starts compared to your high-paid number one start.
Dude, I mean, asking questions like I kind of overreact on these things. I'm a knee-jerk kind of reaction guy when it comes to especially Jari. He's been in my doghouse for years. But I come back every year with a little bit of faith. You know, sometimes I read a statistic here and there that really gets me back on the wagon, on the Jari wagon. But with the way things ended last year, I have been very vocal about Ned. Just, you know, Ned was a good goaltender in Carolina. And then he was on a bad Detroit team.
Yeah.
I was kind of on that train of like, find something to do with Jari in that contract, in as cheap of an asset as you have to give up with him. Just try to get him off the books, because I'd be comfortable running. Comfortable is a really strong word. I don't know if I'd use comfortable, but I'd be willing to run a Ned Blomqvist, Ned Larson, Ned Murashov. Like, I don't know. I'd be willing to roll the dice on a combo like that going into the season, because I've seen enough of Jari. And I'm happy for the goal guy. I was going to ask you, Robbie, does he, maybe, I don't know if it's the number, but does he kind of remind you of a young Matt Murray?
He's definitely skinny like Murray. You know, I remember Murray always being an absolute rail.
Blomqvist's neck is like,
yeah, he kind of looks, he definitely got a neck on him. He definitely got like, and he's not like, which was really funny, he's not like a huge goalie either. Like, he's not very tall. He just has like an extraordinarily long neck. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't take up a ton of the net, but he takes up enough that he's been solid through his first 2 NHL appearances. He's given up 6 goals in 2 games. Jari gave up that in about 2 periods of play. But
my gosh! But
he did stop Austin Matthews on a breakaway too.
He did. I think that if there was one goal, there was a couple goals in his last 2 starts. There was one specifically against the Red Wings that he got scored on. He was letting, I forget who it even was net front, but someone was really taking advantage of the space in front of the crease, where I think a veteran goaltender might actually push back and look around. You know, sometimes Blomqvist seemed to kind of let him just have his way in front of the net, but that comes with, you know, time and
experience
and experience. You know what I mean? And I think they probably already addressed that. And then this game, I mean, Toronto will use those bounces, and they're you know, each stadium kind of has a different feel to the boards, so I'm told. And I think that a couple of those bounces just were fortuitous towards Toronto. That could have happened against any goaltender. But that one against Marner, I thought Marner's an exceptional player with an exceptional release, and he's a star in the league. But if he could have stonewalled Marner on that one, I would have got up out of my seat. But I kind of wish he got that one back just for confidence sake. But dude, I just think I don't know about you, but when you're watching these games and when Blomqvist has been in net, the team just plays differently. I think that it's
I mean, it definitely seemed like they have been more urgent with him in goal. The Marner goal was a lot broke down on that play. Crosby made a bad read.
Yeah, that was
Pettersson made a bad read, and it just it was the wrong guy. Again, Toronto has a lot of guys which would be the wrong guy to turn it over to in that situation. Marner is just one of them, and he beat him clean. Nothing you can really do about it. It happens. Like I said, Raquel beat Stolarz clean earlier in this. Nothing really the goalie can do. But, it was a breakdown all over the place. And he made a couple bailout saves in this game. You would have it's beggars can't be choosers. You can't expect a bailout save every time. But it's tough to put too much blame on Blomqvist again as a young kid. But it definitely seems like the Penguins as a group rally up a little bit better when Blomqvist is the goalie compared to
With Walmart's new fresh and frozen subscriptions, you can save time on your weekly grocery shopping.
Dad, you're supposed to be grocery shopping.
And miss the chance to embarrass you in front of your friends? I subscribe to Snacks and Wet Napkins. You know how messy you are.
Dad!
Walmart. Subscribe to your weekly list.
At Enterprise, we know you're constantly on the move. Getting this?
Thanks, Mom.
Fixing that. You reach a destination. And then it's on to the next. And when life is moving at the speed of, well, life, Enterprise is right there with you. Around the corner and around the globe. We'll keep you moving forward. Enterprise. For lives in drive.
Get softer, smoother, and more even-toned skin after just one use with the new Gentle Exfoliating line from Cetaphil. Formulated with a unique triple acid blend that promotes surface skin cell renewal, these gentle chemical exfoliators remove dead skin cells and refine skin's texture while hydrating, resulting in softer, smoother, more even-looking skin. Shop the new Cetaphil Gentle Exfoliating line in the face and body aisles at your local Target store or online at Cetaphil.com.
Hey, it's Austin James. If you're like me, trying to live your best life while living with diabetes, you can relate to worrying if you're doing a good job managing your diabetes. I use the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor to get real-time glucose readings and see the impact of every meal and activity to make better decisions. The Freestyle Libre 3 Plus sensor can help me live life with diabetes on my own terms, and it gives me more time for the things I love, like being a dad and a musician. Now this is progress. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.
Jari.
Well, also like Toronto has like a great power play, and they didn't score a power play goal, did they?
No,
I don't believe they did.
Yeah.
So when you have a goalie that can give you timely savings and weathering those storms, just like Rupper was saying after the last game, that gives we're so like used to them just like not being able to withstand some of that, some of those like high danger chances, and maybe they had the Penguins hemmed in a couple of times, and Blomqvist had to make some really good saves. And then when they come up empty-handed and it goes the other way, it gives the Penguins are able to change, and then they put pressure the other way. And sometimes with Jari, you just don't get that. And I think maybe sometimes it's bled into the team's whole, like, you know, sometimes I feel like the team plays anxious when the puck goes the other way and it's, you know, a 2-on-1 or whatever. It's like, I don't know. There's a little more anxiety, at least as a viewer too. I think that I can speak for a lot of Penguins fans out there that the anxiety with Jari and Net is just like, oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, and the penalty kill was 3 for 3 tonight. They killed. It wasn't a 2-man advantage, but it was 2 back-to-back power plays at the end of the second period and carrying over into the third period. Unfortunately, after they killed off the one that bled into the third period, they gave up the quick goal then to Mitch Marner shortly after. But I mean, I think overall defensively they were decent tonight. Penalty kill on target, power play clicks off 1 for 4, 25% there. So they're seeing positive signs there as well. But no, I mean overall I thought it was an okay loss. It wasn't a great loss. Obviously, you never like to lose, but it's much better feeling than after the Rangers game, that's for sure.
Yeah, so what was Blomqvist here? 3 goals against on 29 shots?
No, 3 goals against on 32 shots.
3 goals against on 32 shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's against a team like the Maple Leafs, you know, like we've been saying, I'll take that. You know, what can you do sometimes? You know what I mean? So
you can't, yeah.
Dude, what happens if Jari is a gas can in Montreal?
Let's see if Jari starts in Montreal first.
Okay. You think that maybe there's a chance that? Do you think Mike Sullivan doesn't have? If that happens, Mike Sullivan's looking at his goaltenders and he only sees one.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really telling what they do on Monday night in Montreal. Jari has ties to Montreal, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. But if he comes out and puts in Blomqvist again, then you're going to be shaking your head. Then you're going to be questioning what exactly is the game plan here, because I'd rather them have a game plan with the goaltenders than have no game plan, just going on vibes. Because I mean, yeah, I mean, what happens when Nedeljkovic comes back then? I don't know. We'll see.
Do we see Jari go on waivers?
I would have a hard time seeing them put. I really don't see them putting him on waivers. I think they would try to move him another way first, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do. That's for sure. Because if we end up here 4 games through the season on Monday night, and Joel Blomqvist, a goalie who has never played in the NHL prior to Thursday night, is getting 3 starts out of the first 4 games, I would say that means they have no faith in Tristan Jarry and his game right now.
You said it too. Like, they have to give Jarry another start eventually.
I think you have to, just from a confidence standpoint. I know, like, man, you think that you'd want your rookie to get the, I guess, quote unquote, easier matchup, which would be Montreal compared to Toronto. But I mean, if you're in a place where you need to give your quote unquote first goaltender, your top goaltender, a confidence boost against a weaker opponent, maybe he's not your number 1 goalie.
Maybe he's not. And dude, let's be honest here. Like, I think that the coaches never come out and say this kind of stuff.
No.
But it's not rocket science, and it's not like you don't need a psychology degree. We've been watching the same team that Sullivan's been watching for the past however many years. You don't think that Sullivan sometimes sees Jarry's performance and like he goes into his office and closes the door and says, "God, we needed a save there." Like,
I'm sure that they're obviously never going to come out and say that. That'd be like just taking a nuke right to your goaltender's confidence. Like, that'd be undermining your own job. You'd almost be trying to get fired at that point, I think.
But like, you think Sullivan maybe after a certain while has been like, I've seen enough. Like, I saw that game against the Rangers. Jarry's healthy, had all year to come back, didn't even start the last game of the season. He's plenty rested, and he gives up a 6 spot against the Rangers. Although the team looked like absolute garbage in front of him, it was a bad showing by a lot of players on the team, even the big guns. But I just have a feeling that if Blomqvist starts again in Montreal or Jarry starts and is a gas can, I think Sullivan might have to sit down with Dubas and be like, I've been watching this guy for 5 years, and this is it's the same thing every year. Yeah. So like, I'm looking at my 2 goaltenders. To be honest, I'm always looking for a third guy, but he's never on the bench. I see 1 goaltender right now, and it's, I feel for the guy Jarry. Dubas gave him the money. He said there wasn't a better option out there, and which is, he didn't say it bluntly like that, but essentially he just said like, he's a good goaltender. Statistics say that he's probably he could be better than whatever he said to spin us a yarn to get us to have a lot more faith in this guy. But yeah, I do feel for him. He's the number 1 guy. He's got to be in that locker room watching this team rally around this young goaltender and be like, man, I'm kind of on the outside looking in right now. I got a lot of pressure on the kid right now.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure on him, but I mean, Jarry has to be feeling the pressure as well every time that Blomqvist goes out and has a good game. And this is, of course, notwithstanding the injury to Alex Nedeljkovic right now. Like, Nedeljkovic was the guy at the end of the season last year they ran into the ground when, I mean, he was basically just a corpse by the time the season ended. I mean, they were so fed up with, I guess you could say, Tristan Jarry that, again, that meaningless game on Long Island, they just ran out there Alex Nedeljkovic one last time. He had to have been he had to have the best summer of his life, just being able to not have to worry about goaltending at all. He signed a new contract, and then he just probably went and hung out in like the Bahamas or something and just laid on a beach and got pretty girls massage him all over the place.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah, that's definitely what happened.
And he deserved it after that.
He did. He did. But beside the point there, I mean, the goaltending situation is extremely, extremely interesting. It's only going to get more interesting the longer it goes on without any kind of definitive, I guess, stance from Mike Sullivan or Kyle Dubas or someone. Because, again, even if they run Jarry out there Monday night and Nedeljkovic isn't back by the time they get back home for Buffalo, what are you going to do then? What if they run out Blomqvist in their first home game since the 6-0 disaster on Wednesday night. I don't know, but yeah, we need some clarity on this. Again, it's not good for the team as a whole to be stuck in this kind of no man's land with the goalie situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like at least some clarity here in the next week or so.
If you were in a media scrum and you got one-on-one with Dubas and you could ask him one question about the goaltending, what would you ask him point blank?
I'm trying to think of a way to word it. It would not get me thrown out of the media scrum. Because any question you ask, I just feel like the answer is going to be the most general manager answer you can probably come up with.
It's going to be so vague.
It's going to be so vague. Just something along the lines of, if it was tomorrow, something along the lines of Joel Blomqvist after the 6-0 loss. Joel Blomqvist comes back with back-to-back starts. What is this something that was planned, or is this just going with the hot hand, or something to that effect?
Yeah.
You know, you're going to get the most NHL general manager answer and response.
Dubas would somehow find a way to not even touch the answer of that question and be like, Joel's a guy we believe in. We'd like to see him get a longer run in the AHL. Ned's injured. And, ultimately Jari's our guy. We have a lot of faith in him. We're really happy we got Sid locked up to an 8x7. And then all of a sudden he'd be talking about Gino's why wasn't he in the top 100? And then he'd be like, next question, please.
Congratulations again. You walking on 1,300 points, 800, 500, 800 assists. And then, next thing you know, you're talking about stuff from 5 years ago. And you're just like, how do we get here? Something like that, something to that example. But I don't really have anything else for tonight, Snail. Do you have any final points from this game that you want to hit on before we get ready to wrap it up?
No, I got nothing left. It was just, that's it. I'll just say it again. And to our listeners, I'm curious if they feel the same. After a loss like that, I didn't have the spikes and anxiety that I did when you see all those bad habits on display. I thought it was just a good hockey game by the Penguins, and it was the empty net. I don't even count that. That's for gamblers.
Yeah.
It was a one goal game, and they never felt really out of it. And it's been a while since you felt that way. And I think there's only one thing in common. Last thing I'll say, there's one thing in common, and that's I typically feel this way when Jari is not between the pipes.
Yeah, I guess that's a completely fair point to make, that you definitely do feel more like this when Jari is not between the pipes. It's just when I saw Blomqvist was starting, I just in my head, I'm like, I feel a little bit better about tonight's game.
I did too. I was like, man, what if he goes into optimism? God, he could go in. He doesn't have the stench of all of this baggage that Jari's accumulated.
Again, if he would have gone out on Wednesday night against the Rangers, they would have lost 3-2 or even 4-2 like this, you're feeling completely differently.
Totally.
It was a poor performance across the board, but man alive, that 6 goals is just that's just so. And the first game of the year, if it had been December, whatever, you have games like that. I don't care. But the first game of the year, knowing everything he came off of last year,
exactly
how they treated you could not have painted a worse outcome for him to start the season. You could not have drawn anything up worse.
No, you had a bunch of doubters, and that was the performance that got shown. And all of those doubters immediately took off their Penguins jerseys or their Penguins hat and were just like, here we go. It's game one, and it already feels like it's been a long season.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, I got some optimism in this Yoel kid. I like the way that you can't go up to Kyle Dubas, and Mike Sullivan can't go to his coaches and be like, on a whiteboard, it's just written, I just like the vibes. But
yeah,
I don't know how you measure vibes with statistics, but that's what I'd be writing down. I'd be like, the vibes are good. I think I'm going to keep riding the kid, but we'll see how things go in Montreal. They're a pesky team. The Penguins have always had an issue with Montreal, whether it was Carey Price in net and Shea Weber on the back end, or when it's, no names and people that are just there playing out a contract. So it'll be interesting to see. I saw Cole Caulfield. He's got some sort of goal streak going. I don't know exactly what it was, but I think he scored in every game so far this year. And they got a couple of young kids on that team that can definitely cause some problems. They're a fast team. Marty St. Louis behind the bench. So, it'll be interesting to see what team comes out for the Penguins against them. ultimately hoping for 2 points. Hell, I'd take one.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything just to kind of something to build on, I'll be happy with.
So they play Monday, and then do they play Wednesday?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week.
Wow, a lot of games. I like it.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then to the west.
And then they have a couple days, and then they're out west.
Yep, then they're out west, out in Western Canada / Winnipeg. So
who do they play? So they play Buffalo, and then they play
Carolina.
They play Carolina. Okay, that'll be interesting. And then who do they play Friday?
Carolina's Friday.
Oh, Carolina's Friday. Montreal, Buffalo, Carolina. Nice.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, that'll be a good week. Good week of hockey. I like it. Pens are back. That's all I got, Robbie.
All right. So we will talk to you guys obviously on Monday night when the Penguins wrap up against Montreal. Hopefully, back here to discuss a win. So for Snail, I'm Robbie. We'll talk to you guys on Monday night.